Hello, you gorgeous people. How are you? Today I'm talking about affirmations. I'll tell you all about a 3-step process to affirming everything. However, there is a disclaimer, which I'll tell you all about on the other side. So recently I uploaded a little short. I just cut it out of a previous video and the title was "You Can Manifest Anything." Okay? And Moira added a little caveat to that, and she said, yeah, but I think it might be, the timing is, involved. And other people have said, yeah, well, emotions are involved in everything. And rightly so. Rightly so. So what I thought was, whilst I was just today, this was just today, so it's fresh in my mind. I talked to the emissaries and I said, give me your take on affirmations. What are affirmations and what's the best way of doing an affirmation? Okay. And they said, well, an affirmation is purely creation in process. It's what we do all of the time. We're constantly affirming or denying things. And so an affirmation is just you creating something. And so I said to them, well, what are the steps? If you want to really create something good, what would you recommend? The first thing that they started, step number 1, they said, first of all, we would advise that you spend a goodly amount of time deciding what you think you want is something that you really want or not. You know the expression, be careful for what you wish for, because you might just get it. That's what they reminded me of. And what they said was that many times we can want something, but when we analyze the reasons for why we want it, we find that it's not really that we want. There's something else that we want. Okay? Remember my experience of affirming, and I've done it for years. I didn't realize that what I really wanted was happiness. That's what I wanted. And yet I was trying to find that by affirming material things. So they said, you've got to be sure that what you want is what you want. And they give us some steps about how we can do that. But before we talk about those steps, I want to refer to Moira's comment about timing. I believe that we have the capacity to create and to affirm and to bring into our manifest in our life things. But there is a timing to it. There is a timing. I know that I have tried to manifest things when it wasn't the right time and it didn't really work, or it came out a little bit distorted for me. I also have found that I've tried to manifest things that weren't the appropriate thing for me to manifest at that time, and that came out a little bit distorted. So I think there's a plan that we have, and within that plan we can create what we need at that time. Yeah? And maybe, I don't know, but maybe, just maybe, we've got it all written down anyway before we come, and we know what we're going to be affirming and what's going to work and what isn't. Who knows? I don't know how much detail we go into before we come here. But this is the first step that the emissaries give me about affirming. And they said, sit down and think about what it is that you want. And then ask yourself these questions. If I were to get this, not when, if I were to get this, how would it change my life? Okay? Now, most times when we want something, we go, oh, because I'll be then really happy and everything. Okay? So that's the first question. How will it change my life? But there are lots of things that can happen that apparently are good and they're not. So the next question that they said that we need to ask when we're doing this analysis of what we want is, were I to get this, what responsibilities would having it give me? And this one is the key. For me, the key. And I'll give you some examples. You know, when they've analysed people who won the lottery and won millions on the lottery, it was some ridiculous number, like 80% of them or more, I think it was even higher than that, end up unhappy, broke, disastrous lives, addictions, depression. It's like really bad. Why is that? Because with great amounts of money comes great responsibility. And what happened was, those people, they got something that they were not able to manage. They weren't able to make that shift in their whole mentality. The emissaries give me a couple of examples. They said, for example, if you want to get a high-powered job, I want a high-powered job. Okay, and this is talking from my experience. I didn't want it, I was given it. High-powered job, and you think, great. And then you get it and you hate it. And they were saying, when you look at your motivations of why you want this, what do you want this specifically for? Maybe it's because you wanted the kudos, the profile, the power of that job. When in fact, when you get it, you just realize that you've got loads and loads of work, and that wasn't what you wanted. You know, high stress, high work, high demand. And so maybe it's not the job that you want. Imagine you want to manifest a massive mansion. That will make me happy. And then you ask yourself, what responsibilities will that give me? Well, maybe you would get that. And then maybe you couldn't maintain it. Maybe it would be too much for you to manage. And maybe it would make you very unhappy. Okay? So with everything that we get, there is a responsibility, even down to everything that we possess takes a bit of our energy. I'm a great believer in doing a cleanse. I'm not a minimalist by any means. I'm not. I'm far from a minimalist. But I do like to do a cleanse. And when I'm cleaning, I use this premise of, have I touched this in 12 months? If I haven't, I probably don't need it. And unless it's something like a tool that I know at some point I'll need, then I just throw it away, or I give it away, and I give it to somebody who's going to use it. And that releases so much energy, because everything that we own steals a little bit of us. So the emissary said, when you ask the question, what responsibility will this give me? And they said, if you get a negative feeling, then it's better to discard the goal or to change the goal. Because you've got to keep asking yourself, what do I want this to give me? And is that really going to happen? And so that's the very first step. So before you ever step into manifesting something, always make sure that it's what you really want. It's very important. So that was something that I haven't spent a lot of time telling people, but it's very important. It's vital. It's the most important step. Step number 2. And this is the mechanics of manifesting. What they said was this: create a representation of what it is that you want. Now, lots of people are visual and they can just see a visual representation, but some people aren't. But it doesn't matter, you can represent what that is inside. It's an internal representation. And they said, and see yourself enjoying it. Okay? See yourself enjoying it. I'm busy manifesting something. I'll tell you about it another time. And so I've been using this system that they give me. And I asked, I went through the whole process. Is this something that I really want? And yes, but I'm aware that with it comes certain responsibility. So manifesting that. And so there you are. I'm seeing myself enjoying it. Like this, the celebration of having it. And then they said, add as many senses as you can. They said smell is very, very powerful. You know what? We can walk into a place and smell a smell, and it can take us back to childhood. It's really powerful. So add senses, sound. And then they said this about sound. They said, give it a soundtrack. The representation, give it a song. And they said, choose a song that for you is like a celebration song, is victory or whatever. So I tell you what I did with my affirmation, and I hadn't been doing it up to now, and it's changed it completely. So I see my image that I've got of me celebrating, and I hear the song, hey, I feel good, right now, and it's like that, just that beginning bit, and it makes me smile, it makes me laugh when I'm seeing myself and I hear that music, I feel good, and it just changed everything. Because what they said was this: when you invoke the senses, the third step is easy. It happens naturally, which is step number 3, is get excited. Get as excited as you possibly can. Now, how you do that is by invoking the senses. How you do that is by bringing in your song, like your song of victory, something that really emotionally moves you up. So that's what you have to do. So you're going to get your representation, hear your music, smell your smells, hear the shouts and the cries of victory, and then feel the excitement. And, build up the excitement, get the excitement as high as you can. But the most important thing, and this is kind of the bit that they left me with, is as soon as you feel the excitement, when it's at its peak, stop. Cut. Clear the screen. And they said, most importantly, distract yourself instantly. Find something to do. Do something. Whatever it is. Something that has nothing to do with what you're doing. So I said to them, why the distraction? They said, the reason is, if you distract yourself, it's called the pattern interrupt, by the way, for the people who do therapy. Pattern interrupt. What happens is, when you instantly distract yourself, you haven't got time to allow leakage and seepage of anything negative, any doubts, any kind of curses, right? Curses are, let's hope this happens. This will probably never happen. Those kind of curses, which just destroy anything that you've done. So you've got to distract yourself instantly so that you're not thinking about it. It also leaves what's called a pregnant pause in the universe. So it leaves a pregnant, you're at the peak of your excitement and you go, now what's for lunch? That's it. They said the process shouldn't be any more than about a minute long. If that, the process. At the beginning it might take you longer, and as you get better at it, you get faster. As I get better at it, all I do is I just see it and feel the emotion, that's it, and then off we go. So they said keep it as short as possible, distract yourself, but do it as many times as you can. Many times as you want a day, there's no limit. The more times you do it, the more pregnant pauses you're leaving in the universe. Okay, so they're the steps. Just recap. Step 1, be sure that you're asking for something that you truly want. And if you're not sure, do not affirm it. Do not affirm it, because you can make a hell of heaven. Step 2, create the representation. See yourself in it. Most importantly, see yourself in it, enjoying that particular moment. Add some music, add a soundtrack, all the senses, but add a soundtrack, your favorite song. What they said was that if you add a song that's linked to that affirmation and then you hear the song, then it actually affirms, it boosts that affirmation, which is interesting. And then as soon as you've done it, time out, cut, distraction, something else, do something else. Keep it short, brief, and then time out. Yeah, there you are. So affirmations in a nutshell from the emissaries, divine affirmations. And thank you to everybody who makes comments on the videos, and especially things like this. I do really appreciate them. And it helps me, it inspires me to then create more content and more themes that I can cover. I love you all, and let's get affirming. And you know what we've got to affirm? Happiness and what we want in the future. That would just, if we just affirmed those two things, it would all be over before we knew it. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye-bye.